You think you know why relationships fall apart? Think again, because what I'm about to reveal will shatter everything you thought you understood about female psychology and infidelity. Most men believe women cheat for the same reasons they do: physical attraction, opportunity, or pure lust. But that's where you're dead wrong. And that misunderstanding? It's costing you relationships, your peace of mind, and years of your life invested in the wrong woman. The truth is, women cheat for reasons far more calculated, far more emotional, and far more dangerous than most men can imagine. And the worst part? The signs are always there. You just don't know what you're looking for. Today, I'm breaking down the top 6 reasons why women cheat. And I'm warning you right now, the third reason is the one that catches even the smartest men off guard. It's the silent killer of relationships. And if you don't recognize it, you'll never see the betrayal coming. But here's what matters most. By the end of this video, you'll understand female psychology at a level that will completely transform how you view relationships. You'll spot the patterns before they destroy you. You'll see the red flags before they turn into disasters. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. And in the comments, tell me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this message reaches because these truths, they're universal. Betrayal speaks the same language everywhere. Now, let's get into it, because the first reason women cheat will surprise you. Most men actually think it's a compliment when they see it. Reason number 1. Emotional neglect, the silent killer. Here's what most men don't understand. Women don't cheat because they stopped loving you. They cheat because they stopped feeling loved by you. Let me explain something critical about female psychology. While men bond through physical intimacy, women bond through emotional connection. That's not an opinion, that's biology. When a woman feels emotionally disconnected, it creates a void, and nature abhors a vacuum. You might be bringing home the money. You might be solving all her problems. You might be the most reliable man in the world. But if she doesn't feel seen, heard, and emotionally understood, none of that matters. Because you're feeding her body while starving her soul. Here's how it plays out in real life. You come home from work. She tries to tell you about her day, about her feelings, about something that's bothering her. And what do? You half listen. You check your phone. You offer quick solutions instead of deep understanding. You think you're being helpful. She feels dismissed. This happens once. No problem. Twice. She notices. 100 times? She starts looking for someone who will actually listen. The dangerous part? She doesn't wake up one day and decide to cheat. It's gradual. First, she stops sharing the deep stuff with you. Then she finds someone else to share it with. A coworker, a friend, an ex who suddenly slides into her DMs. And that person? He listens. He asks questions. He makes her feel understood in a way you haven't in months or maybe years. And here's the trap most men fall into. You think because you're handling business, because you're being a provider, that's enough. You tell yourself, I show my love through actions. But she doesn't need another father figure. She needs a partner who sees her as more than a responsibility. Let me hit you with some uncomfortable truth. That guy she cheated with, he probably doesn't have half your money, half your status, or half your looks. But he gave her something you didn't. He gave her attention. He made her feel alive again. He listened when she spoke and responded like her words mattered. You want to prevent this? Here's the practical solution. Create emotional space. Every single day, give her 15 minutes of undivided attention. No phone, no TV, no distractions. Ask her about her feelings, not just her schedule. Listen to understand, not to fix. Most of her problems don't need solutions. They need witnesses. And here's the powerful shift. When you consistently provide emotional connection, you don't just keep her faithful, you make other men invisible to her, because she has no void for them to fill. But let me be real with you. If you've already let this slide for too long, if she's already found emotional connection elsewhere, it might be too late. That's why awareness matters now, before the damage is irreversible. Because emotional neglect doesn't just open the door to cheating, it practically sends her an Uber to someone else's bedroom. And once she's crossed that line, getting her back emotionally is nearly impossible. The question you need to ask yourself is this: when was the last time you made her feel truly heard? If you're struggling to remember, that's your first warning sign. But emotional neglect is just the beginning, Because even if you're emotionally present, there's a second reason that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with her past. Reason number 2, unresolved trauma and validation addiction. This is the one that blindsides men because it's invisible. You can't see it on the first date. You can't spot it in the honeymoon phase, but it's there, lurking beneath the surface, waiting to destroy everything you build together. Here's the reality. Many women carry unresolved trauma from their past. Maybe she grew up in a broken home where love was conditional. Maybe her father abandoned her, leaving a wound that never healed. Maybe her first serious relationship ended in betrayal, and she never properly processed it. Whatever the source, that trauma creates a hole inside her, and she spends her entire life trying to fill it. But here's where it gets dangerous. Instead of healing that wound through therapy or self-work, she medicates it with male attention. Every compliment, every flirtation, every man who desires her gives her a temporary hit of validation. It's like a drug. And just like any addiction, one hit is never enough. You might be the best man in her life. You might love her deeply, consistently, and genuinely. But if her need for validation is rooted in trauma, your love will never be enough. Because the problem isn't you. It's the endless void inside her. Here's how this shows up in real life. She's constantly on social media, posting photos that attract male attention. She keeps ex-boyfriends in her orbit, claiming they're just friends. She thrives on compliments from other men and gets defensive when you question it. She tells you you're being insecure or controlling, but deep down, she knows what she's doing. The psychology here is simple but brutal. Women with validation addiction aren't cheating because they don't love you, they're cheating because they don't love themselves. And no amount of your love can fix that internal deficit. Let me give you a real example. You're dating a woman who seems perfect, confident, attractive, charming. But as time goes on, you notice patterns. She needs constant reassurance. She fishes for compliments. She gets anxious when her phone isn't buzzing with notifications. That's not confidence. That's compensation. And here's where men make the fatal mistake. They think if they just love her harder, if they just give more attention and more affection, she'll finally feel secure. But you're trying to fill a bottomless pit. You'll exhaust yourself pouring love into a woman who's been leaking from unhealed wounds her entire life. The harsh truth? She'll cheat not because you failed her, but because she's been failing herself long before you ever met her. That other man isn't better than you. He's just the next temporary fix for a permanent problem. So what do? First, recognize the signs early. If she has a pattern of keeping multiple men in her orbit, if she constantly needs external validation, if her self-worth seems to depend on male attention, that's a red flag bigger than any stadium banner. Second, understand this. You cannot fix her. Only she can do that work. And if she's unwilling to acknowledge the trauma and seek real healing, your relationship is built on sand. It's only a matter of time before it collapses. The most powerful move you can make? Set clear boundaries. Tell her directly, I'll give you love, but I won't compete for your attention with every man who throws you a compliment. If you need that kind of validation, this relationship isn't going to work. That statement isn't mean. It's self-preservation, because a woman who hasn't healed her past will inevitably poison your future. And here's the brutal reality. Most men stay because they think they can save her. They mistake their own codependency for love. But you're not her therapist. You're not her father. And you're definitely not responsible for wounds you didn't create. If she refuses to heal, you have one choice. Walk away before her unresolved trauma destroys your peace of mind. But even if she's healed and emotionally healthy, there's a third reason women cheat. And this one, it's the most calculated, the most dangerous, and the hardest to detect. Reason number 3, the hypergamy instinct, branch swinging. Now we're getting into territory most people won't talk about, but I'm going to say it plainly because you need to hear this truth. Hypergamy. It's a term that makes people uncomfortable, but it's rooted in evolutionary psychology. And whether you like it or not, it explains a massive percentage of female infidelity. Here's what hypergamy means in simple terms. The biological and social tendency for women to seek partners of higher status, resources, or genetic quality. And when a woman perceives that she can do better than you, the temptation to branch swing becomes overwhelming. Let me be clear, not every woman operates this way, but enough do that you need to understand the pattern. Because when hypergamy kicks in, loyalty becomes negotiable. Here's how it plays out. You meet a woman, Things are great. You're dating, building a connection, maybe even talking about the future. But then something shifts. She meets someone she perceives as higher value. Maybe he has more money. Maybe he has more status. Maybe he's just better looking or more exciting. And suddenly, your relationship becomes a holding pattern while she explores her options. This is branch swinging. She doesn't let go of you until she's secure with him. She keeps one foot in your relationship while testing the waters elsewhere. And if the new option works out, she'll leave you cold. If it doesn't, she'll stay with you like nothing ever happened. The psychology here is fascinating and disturbing. Women are biologically wired to seek the best possible mate for survival and reproduction. That instinct doesn't disappear just because we live in modern times. It's still there, humming quietly in the background, always scanning for better options. And here's where men get destroyed. You think because she's with you, because she says she loves you, that she's committed. But if she perceives you as settling, if she believes she can trade up, her loyalty has an expiration date. Let me give you a brutal example. You've been with her for 2 years. Things are stable. Then she gets a new job or joins a new social circle. Suddenly, she's around men who are more successful, more confident, more socially dominant. She starts comparing. And in her mind, you start losing. She doesn't leave immediately. She starts pulling away emotionally. She becomes distant. She picks fights over nothing. Why? Because she's already mentally checked out. She's building a case in her mind to justify the exit. And here's the cruelest part. She'll make it seem like you're the problem. You're too controlling. You don't support her growth. You're not ambitious enough. But the real issue? You're no longer the highest value option in her orbit. Now, before you spiral into nihilism, let me give you the counter strategy. The solution to hypergamy isn't to become paranoid or controlling. It's to become undeniably high value. You focus on yourself, your purpose, your mission, your growth. You build a life so strong that you're not worried about other men because you know your worth. Here's the practical shift. Never stop improving. The moment you get comfortable, the moment you stop pushing yourself to grow, you become vulnerable to branch swinging. Women are attracted to momentum. If you're stagnant, she'll start looking for someone who's still moving forward. Second, maintain abundance mentality. Don't make her your entire world. Have your own friends, your own goals, your own life. When she sees that you're not desperate, that you have options too, hypergamy loses its power. Third, call it out if you see it. If she's keeping other men around, testing the waters, playing games, don't ignore it. Address it directly. If you're looking for something better, go find it. But don't waste my time while you're deciding. That frame alone filters out branch swingers. A woman who's truly committed will respect that boundary. A woman who's shopping around will reveal herself immediately. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Some women will cheat simply because they think they can do better. It has nothing to do with how good you are to them. It's about their perception of your value relative to other options. The question you need to ask yourself: are you building value or coasting? Because in today's world, coasting is a guaranteed way to get replaced. But hypergamy isn't the only calculated reason women cheat. There's a fourth reason that's even more cold-blooded. Reason number 4, revenge and power dynamics. This is the darkest reason on this list, and it's the one most men never see coming because they don't think women are capable of this level of calculation. But here's the truth. Some women cheat as a weapon. Revenge cheating is real, and it's more common than you think. Here's how it works. You mess up. Maybe you betrayed her trust. Maybe you hurt her ego. Maybe you simply made her feel disrespected, and instead of communicating like an adult, she decides to make you pay. She doesn't cheat because she's attracted to someone else. She cheats because she wants to hurt you the way you hurt her. It's psychological warfare. And the cruelest part? She might never even tell you. She'll carry that secret like a hidden dagger, knowing she wounded you without you even realizing it. But revenge isn't always about betrayal. Sometimes it's about power. Some women cheat to regain control in a relationship where they feel powerless. If you're too dominant, too controlling, or too sure of her loyalty, she might cheat just to prove to herself that she still has options. It's her way of saying, "You don't own me." Here's the psychology. Women are deeply relational creatures, but they're also highly attuned to power dynamics. If she feels like she's losing leverage in the relationship, if she perceives that you're too comfortable or too confident in her commitment, She might create distance to rebalance the scales. And cheating is the nuclear option. It's the ultimate power move. Because now she holds a secret that could destroy you. Even if you never find out, she knows. And that knowledge gives her a psychological edge. Let me give you a real-world example. You've been the dominant one in the relationship. You make the decisions, you set the tone, she follows your lead. But over time, she starts feeling like she's lost her identity. So she cheats, not because she's attracted to the other guy, but because it makes her feel like she's reclaimed her independence. This is especially common in relationships where the man is significantly older, wealthier, or more successful. She loves the security you provide, but she resents feeling like the lesser partner. So she levels the playing field in the most destructive way possible. Now here's the hard part. How do you prevent this? The answer is balance. You want to lead, but not dominate. You want to be strong, but not suffocating. You want her to respect you, but also feel like an equal partner. Practical step. Give her autonomy. Let her make decisions. Let her have her own life outside the relationship. The more you try to control her, the more likely she is to rebel. And rebellion in relationships often looks like infidelity. Second, if you mess up, own it immediately. Apologize genuinely. Make it right. Because if you leave her feeling wounded without resolution, she might seek resolution in someone else's bed. Third, maintain emotional intelligence. Pay attention to power dynamics. If you sense she's feeling powerless or resentful, address it before it metastasizes into betrayal. Here's the brutal reality. Some women will cheat just to prove they can. It's not about love or attraction. It's about ego and control. And if you're with a woman who operates this way, no amount of love or loyalty will protect you. The only protection? Choose women with character. Women who communicate when they're hurt instead of retaliating in secret. Women who value integrity more than revenge. Because if she's the type to weaponize intimacy, you're not in a relationship, you're in a cold war. And eventually, everyone loses. But there's another reason women cheat that has nothing to do with you at all. Reason number 5, the thrill seeker. Addiction to novelty. Some women cheat for the simplest and most selfish reason imaginable. They're bored. Not bored with you specifically, bored with stability itself. They're addicted to novelty, to excitement, to the rush of something new. And no matter how good you are, no matter how much you give, you'll never be able to compete with the drug of newness. Here's the psychology. Modern life has rewired our brains for instant gratification. Social media, streaming, dating apps, everything is designed to give you a dopamine hit on demand. And for some women, long-term relationships feel like dial-up internet in a world of 5G. They crave the thrill of new attraction, the butterflies, the mystery, the electric feeling of someone seeing them for the first time. And once that fades in your relationship, once comfort replaces excitement, they start hunting for it elsewhere. This is the woman who has a history of short-term relationships. She's never made it past the honeymoon phase, because once reality sets in, once the novelty wears off, she's already scanning for her next fix. You'll see the signs. She gets restless easily. She complains about routine. She romanticizes spontaneity. She follows adventure pages on social media, constantly talking about wanting something more, something different. And when she meets someone new, her eyes light up in a way they haven't with you in months. Here's the trap. Men often think if they just become more exciting, if they plan more dates or surprise her more often, she'll stay engaged. But you're fighting a losing battle. Because the issue isn't that you're boring. The issue is that she is incapable of sustaining interest once familiarity sets in. The harsh truth? Thrill seekers are relationship tourists. They don't want to build something lasting. They want to consume experiences. And when they've consumed all they can from you, they move on to the next attraction. So what's the move? First, identify this pattern early. If she's got a trail of ex-boyfriends and no relationships longer than 6 months, that's not bad luck. That's a character flaw. She's chasing highs instead of building depth. Second, don't exhaust yourself trying to be exciting 24/7. Relationships require routine. They require comfort. If she can't handle that, she's not relationship material. Third, accept this truth. You cannot fix a thrill seeker. She'll only change when she decides novelty isn't worth destroying connection. And that usually happens after years of empty experiences leave her alone and hollow. Your job? Don't be collateral damage in her journey of self-discovery. If you spot the pattern, exit early before you invest years into someone who was never capable of staying. Because here's what thrill seekers don't realize until it's too late. Novelty fades. Every single time. That new person becomes familiar. That excitement becomes routine. And the cycle repeats. By the time she figures out that depth beats novelty, she's burned every bridge and destroyed every good man who tried to love her. Don't be the man who wastes his prime years waiting for her to grow up. But there's one final reason women cheat. And this one is the most painful because it reveals a truth most men refuse to face. Reason number 6. You stopped being the man she fell for. This is the reason no one wants to hear, but it's the most important one. Because unlike the other 5 reasons, this one is actually within your control. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Some women cheat because you let yourself go. I'm not talking about gaining a few pounds or having a bad week. I'm talking about fundamentally changing who you were when she met you. You stopped being the man she was attracted to, and you became a version of yourself she doesn't recognize or respect. Think about when you first met her. You were on your purpose. You had ambition. You worked out. You dressed well. You had goals, hobbies, friends. You were a man with momentum. And that energy, that drive, that self-respect, it was magnetic. But what happened after you got comfortable? You stopped going to the gym. You stopped pursuing your goals. You traded your social life for Netflix. You stopped leading and started following. You became reactive instead of proactive. And slowly, quietly, you stopped being attractive. Here's the brutal psychology. Women don't fall in love with potential. They fall in love with the man in front of them. And if that man disappears, so does her attraction. She might still care about you. She might even still love you. But love without attraction is friendship. And friendship doesn't keep her faithful. Let me give you a real example. You're dating a high-value woman. When you met, you were grinding, building your business, hitting the gym daily. She was drawn to your discipline and ambition. But 2 years in, you've gotten lazy. You're coasting at work, you've gained weight, you spend weekends playing video games. She doesn't say anything at first. But inside, she's disappointed. The man she chose is gone. And the man in his place, she's not attracted to him. That's when someone else enters the picture. A man who reminds her of who you used to be. Driven, disciplined, exciting. And she doesn't cheat because she's a bad person. She cheats because you stopped being the person she signed up for. Now here's where most men get defensive. They say, she should love me for who I am, but that's a cop-out. You wouldn't have attracted her in the first place if you were this version of yourself. She fell for the upgraded version. And when you downgraded, you broke the unspoken contract. So what's the solution? Never stop being the man she fell for. Actually, forget that. Never stop being the man you want to be. Because the truth is, if you're living at your highest level, attraction takes care of itself. Practical steps. Maintain your physical health. Keep lifting. Keep moving. Your body is a reflection of your discipline. Stay on your purpose. Keep building. Keep growing. Never let comfort turn into complacency. Maintain your social life. Don't abandon your friends and hobbies just because you're in a relationship. She was attracted to the full version of you, not the isolated version. Lead with confidence. Don't become passive or approval-seeking. Women respect men who have a clear direction and the courage to walk it. Here's the powerful reframe. You're not maintaining attraction for her. You're maintaining it for you. Because a man who respects himself naturally commands respect from others, including the woman he's with. And if she still cheats after you've held your standard, then she was never your woman. She was just along for the ride until someone better came along. But at least you'll know you didn't give her a reason. You'll walk away with your dignity intact. The harsh reality? Most men let themselves go and then blame women for losing attraction. But you can't demand loyalty from someone when you've stopped being loyal to yourself. Conclusion. So there you have it, the top 6 reasons why women cheat. Emotional neglect, unresolved trauma and validation addiction, hypergamy and branch swinging, revenge and power dynamics, addiction to novelty. You stopped being the man she fell for. Now here's what matters most. This isn't about hating women or becoming paranoid. This is about understanding psychology so you can make better decisions. Some of these reasons are about her character. Some are about your behavior. And some are just about compatibility. Your job? Recognize the patterns early. Choose women with integrity. Maintain your own value. Set clear boundaries, and never compromise your self-respect for someone who doesn't respect you. If you ignore these truths, you'll keep repeating the same painful cycles. But if you internalize them, you'll protect yourself from years of wasted time and emotional damage. Before you go, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this video with a man who needs to hear it. In the comments, tell me which reason shocked you the most, because your awareness might save another man from betrayal. Remember this, you can't control what she does, but you can control who you are and who you choose. And that power, that's everything. Stay sharp, stay strong, and never settle for less than you deserve.